Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me. Today I have a video for you that's inspired mostly by the weather. This morning I woke up and it was minus 36 degrees Celsius, which is pretty cold. So I thought it was a good idea and a good time to run through all the items that I carry in my car all winter long in case of an emergency. Everything you see on the table is what I carry in my trunk. It might be a little bit excessive for some people, it might not seem like enough for others, but for me this is what I find works right now, and it's like anything, it's always adapting and evolving as I see fit. So quickly running through what's on the table right now. This backpack here has most of my warm clothes in it, as well as some of the key survival items that I think I need in an emergency situation in the winter. This item right here are obviously my winter snow boots. Winter snow boots, super important to have in your car in the winter in case of emergency, depending on your situation. So for my situation, I work in the city. Sometimes will be wearing casual shoes, I'll be wearing runners, or I'll be wearing dress shoes. None of those will be helpful if I'm in the country or outside of the city, or even in the city, stuck in some crazy situation where traffic stopped, I can't get home, and I have to walk anywhere. So if I have to walking in dress shoes, I would definitely freeze my feet. That's why I've chosen to carry a snow boot in my car at all times that I could change into, and I can walk away from my car or my workplace and just get home or to safety or help or anything like that. So snow boots, super important. This bag here, I'll probably do a separate video on this bag, not included in this one. But what I keep in here is mostly car-related items. These aren't items that I would take with me if I had to leave my car. Most of these items would just stay in the car in my trunk all the time, but has crucial items in it such as safety vest, jumper cables, some minor tools, glow sticks in here, things like that. Next up, I have the red guy in the front here. This is my first aid kit. It's a pretty substantial first aid kit. I keep it in my trunk all season long, not just in the winter. I'll probably do a separate video of that as well, but it's part of this group on the table of all the things that I would want in my car. So first aid kit as well. Then there's this guy. Just a very lightweight snow shovel. So this snow shovel I got on Amazon. I recently upgraded. I replaced an old plastic one that I've had for quite a number of years. I think this is super important to have in your trunk at all times during the winter. Primarily where I am, if you happen to hit the ditch or if you end up in a situation where your car was sitting for any length of time and you got snowed in, a snow shovel is pretty important and can be super handy for getting your car out of the snow. So, and yeah, super important to have in your kit. Last item on the table, wool blanket. So the wool blanket I think is probably very important to have in your car all winter long. Doesn't have to be fancy. This is your classic emergency blanket, the scratchy wool kind. Try and get as much of a wool percentage in it as you can. That'll definitely help. And it's just a nice thing to have when you're stuck in your car overnight and you need to stay warm, or even if you have to leave your car and you're spending the night or multiple hours on your way home or to safety. It's nice to have this blanket. So that kind of sums up what's on the table and what I have in my car all winter long. So now let's jump into this bag and I'll unpack it for you and you can see what's in this one. So yeah, let's get into the bag itself. So this bag I got, I believe, a number of years ago as a safety award from one of my old jobs. I wasn't using it for too much purposes normally, but it turns out it works great as my emergency bag. It is a mech bag. So that's a pretty decent brand up here in Canada. They make fairly quality stuff. It's basically like an oversized laptop bag or duffel bag. But what I like about it specifically is that it has the backpack function. So if you undo this strap here, or this zipper here, sorry, it actually has the backpack straps that can be clipped on. And it makes it just your standard backpack, which is super important. I think I'd recommend getting either a backpack or just like a hybrid bag like this, because if you do have to leave your car and you have to walk anywhere, you're going to want to have your hands free. Carrying duffel bags not going to be ideal, so a backpack is pretty perfect for that. I guess you could call this as my get home bag, as other people might refer to it, but I just call it my vehicle emergency bag. So yeah, let's start unzipping and unpacking it. I haven't opened this bag in quite a while, so I don't have it memorized of what's all in here, so we're gonna kind of wing it. So, top zipper up here, I keep my Leatherman. So, this is my primary cutting tool as well in this kit. I don't believe I have another knife in the whole kit, so this is what it's called. This is a Leatherman Charge. So most people are familiar with the multi-tool or the Leatherman. This is the one I use. It works perfectly. It has the knife, it has the pliers, it has all the tools you'd probably want in any situation that this is suited for. I also have the bit clip here. So one of the few tools that I have in this bag, and it's my only cutting source, and my knife is the Leatherman here. Next up, open this front pocket. Okay. So I carry a little bit of food and snacks in my kit. This is just a standard Mountain House. It's a pretty small one. I pack a freeze-dried meal just in case I have to be anywhere for somewhat long duration. So this whole bag is set up for if my car kind of breaks down or there's a scenario where I have to be away from home for any length of time and I have to get home or I have to wait for help. In that situation, I thought it'd be good to have one of these meals. If it's 8 hours I have to wait, if it's overnight, I can prepare that. For others, you might only need to have something like this. This is a bag of all my snacks. So what's inside here, I have some Cliff bars, I have some fiber bars, just some chocolate chip regular granola bars, I have a couple tea bags, some fruit snacks, peanuts, and there's some plastic spoons that I can use to eat the freeze-dried meal with. Again, I don't think I mentioned it yet, but everything in this bag is not my primary best quality gear. It's all gear that works just fine in the off chance that I have to use it. So you won't see any titanium or aluminum spoons or backpacking spoons in here. Just basic stuff. Keeps the weight down, and it's also just gear that for the most part I don't use and I just leave in my car. I try to plan the whole bag as self-sufficient, so I'm not pulling gear out of this bag to use on a daily basis. If I go camping and I need something that's in this bag, I don't pull it out. Everything in here just stays in here all the time, and that really decreases the chance of you pulling something out and forgetting to put it back in. So yeah, there's my snacks. I'll put that here. What else is in the front? So in the front, all I have is paper, pen, and pencil. So if it's really cold, probably the pencil is a good idea. The pen probably will freeze, but most of this stuff, other than the clothes, I do keep in here for the summertime as well. So that's why I kind of have both. So we'll put those down there. I think that's it for the front pocket. All right, now let's open up the main bag. It's probably going to explode because it's packed pretty full. Let's see how we do here. Not bad. All right, so getting into the bag itself. Right on the top here, these are snow pants. So pretty crucial. There's probably a good chance that I'll be wearing jeans, cotton pants, or dress pants when I'm in my car and something were to happen. So it's really important to have snow pants that you can wear. So next up is my winter jacket. So like I said, not my primary winter jacket. It's one that stays in here all the time. This is a jacket I believe I got from a friend. It's like one of those work promotional jackets. Yeah, it's a caterpillar jacket. Very durable. It's a work type jacket. Windproof outer shell. You don't really need a waterproof one in the winter here. Inside there's a whole fleece, so there's another layer built into this jacket right away. You can detach it. It's got the detachable fleece. And yes, I'll probably be wearing a jacket in my car all times in the winter, but it just might not be the best jacket, so it's nice to have a big warm one that you could use in an emergency situation. Also, maybe I'm with somebody else that could use the jacket too. instead of just for myself. Although most of this bag is planned as a one-person kit, not multiples, not for a family. So, moving on. Gloves. I also probably have gloves in my car most of the time in addition to what's in this bag, but I always keep a pair in here just in case. These are pretty beat up old snowboard gloves, but they'll work just perfectly to keep your hands warm in that scenario where you're going to need them too. Put those there. In Canada, we call this a toque. You might call it a beanie, you might just call it a cap, whatever you want to call it. Something to keep your ears warm and put on your head. Pretty basic, but super important. Next up, we have long johns, thermals. And to go with those, socks. So these are very big wool socks that are very thick and very warm. I believe they're 70% merino wool too, so make sure you get yourself some merino wool socks. Don't put cotton socks in this kit. So nice, thick, some decent quality merino wool socks are really important for the kit as well. Next up is the thermals. So I have probably my nicer thermals that I wear when I'm snowshoeing or hiking in the winter or any shoulder season, off-season hikes. I use merino wool stuff. These aren't merino wool, these are just synthetics. They're Helly Hansen's. They used to be my old work ones that I used quite a number of years ago, but they're still good. They still work very well for winter conditions. So these are the bottoms, the pants that I wear under my snow pants if I needed to go outside. And these are the tops, or the top, sorry. So yeah, another Helly Hansen thermal top that I can wear as well. So you can see between these items all here, plus what I'm already wearing in the car, if an emergency situation did happen, I have warm clothing, which is really important and which I think a lot of people don't have in their car, and they probably should if they live in a climate such as mine. So we'll leave that here. Okay, a few more items. Some of the more crucial items as well are up in here. So next item here is just a container. I have this container here. When you take the cap off, it's just a stainless steel vessel. The reason I chose this type of container as opposed to like a plastic Nalgene bottle is the stainless steel container can be used to boil water in. So I don't keep water in it, as you can see right now. The reason for that is that if I put water in it when it's outside in my car, it would just freeze to a solid block of ice and probably explode the bottle. It makes a little bit more sense just to keep it empty, and if I have to make water, I'll be pretty much collecting snow. Yeah, I could put a little bit less water in it, but it would still be a block of ice, and melting a block of ice is harder than melting snow, so that's my logic behind this. So let's get into this bag here. So right on the top here, I have glow sticks. Glow sticks are pretty handy to have for a variety of reasons. Keeping on the lighting theme, I have this guy in here. This is a flashlight, super light, has no batteries in it. It's a backup lighting source. I do have another main source in here, my headlamp, which I'll pull out now. So I keep a headlamp in my kit all the time as well. I like headlamps a little bit better than flashlights. I have a number of flashlights, but I definitely have more headlamps. So this is one I used to use for camping quite a bit, but it's been demoted to my emergency bag. So it's a black diamond one. Next up in the lighting category is this guy. So this is just a little candle lantern. It's made by Yuko. It's called the Yuko Micro, and all it is a little lantern. You can pull it up like this, light the candle. Candles are pretty important in a winter kit. You want to have a candle. If you're in your vehicle, they can throw enough heat to keep your vehicle slightly warm, not like a heater or anything crazy like that. But it serves as a lighting source, a little bit of a morale booster too. Any sort of flames or fire are always a little bit of a morale booster. So it has 2 tea lights inside of it that I can use in an emergency as well. I have spare batteries. These are AAA batteries. The only thing that I have in this kit that uses them is the headlamp, so that's specifically for the headlamp itself. What else should we pull out of here? This guy. This stays in my kit summer long and the winter as well. This is a water key. Most people will know what this is for. You can open water spigots on the side of buildings or commercial buildings, retail buildings, stuff like that. You can buy these on Amazon. I think I got this one at Home Depot. I believe it was a little bit cheaper than the Amazon one as well. Should probably go through this guy next. So this is what I carry to be able to boil water and make my one dehydrated meal, or just boiling water for drinking as well. It's just a little stove. You guys might be familiar with these. If you're not, this is the type of stove that takes these little fuel tablets. So I have 6 of these tablets in here. I'll pull them out. So I have these 6 tablets, fuel tablets. You put the fuel tablet inside the stove itself. You can light it up, put your container on top, and then there you go, you're boiling water. I specifically bought this one for my emergency kit just because it's basic, it's super light, and yeah, it just works really, really awesome. So in order to light that, you'll need some source of fire starter. This is a really old match case that I have that works pretty good. It's waterproof. Inside, I have 3 of these Yuko matches. I forget what they're called, but they're the type that don't go out very easily. You can dunk them in the water, you can dunk them in the sand and the snow, and they seem to stay lit all the time. So I have 3 of those Yuko matches. I also have your standard Bic lighter. This is probably the primary lighting source that I'd use. I have strikers for both matches in here. I have the box for all the waterproof matches that are also in here. And then I have the striker for these guys here as well. Next up, in this little bag, I have some crazy glue as well as some Gorilla Tape. So Gorilla Tape's super handy. You can fix the odd thing. We can leave notes on places. That's why I have the paper. You can write a note on there and you can stick it to a car, a tree, a post, something like that. So crazy glue and some Gorilla Tape. Then I just have some hand warmers. I don't pack a whole lot in here, but I do have 2 packs of these hand warmers, which work great. I typically don't use these on a normal basis in the winter. I'm pretty hot-blooded. I have a very warm body to begin with, so I never really have a need for stuff like this if I'm dressed warm, but in an emergency situation, you bet they might be handy. Next up is the Mylar blanket, the foil blanket, the space blanket, emergency blanket, lots of different names for these. Pretty important. They usually will come in like a first aid kit. You can buy them on Amazon as well, so I have one of these in here too. Let's put it up here instead. And last item out of the bag is the emergency bivy. So this is a SOL, Survive Outdoors Longer, emergency bivy. As you can tell, all of this kit here is not designed, it's not planned to be surviving in the wilderness. It's not a bug out bag type scenario. This is just get home. So if I have to do that, if I'm walking anywhere and it takes me hours and hours and hours and I have to spend overnight, I decided to at least pack an emergency bivy. So between the bivy, the blankets that I have, and the clothes, you should be plenty warm, or at least warmer than what you would be if you didn't have the bivy. So I definitely do not have a tent or hammocks or any sort of tarps or shelters in this kit at all. I opted to just go with the emergency bivy for shelter purposes. That's basically it. I don't think I missed anything. So yeah, you can see it all here on the table. This is what's in my cold weather emergency bag that I keep in my car all winter long. I'm very curious to see what you guys have out there. So if you have a kit, especially if you have a video on YouTube, drop me a comment. point me in the right direction. I'd love to take a look at it. If you have comments or questions about what I have in my kit, feel free to comment below as well. If you have criticisms, if you think something is ridiculous and I shouldn't have it in here, throw that in there as well. I don't mind constructive criticism as long as it's helpful. And yeah, other than that, I don't have too much else to say on it, so I'll leave you guys be, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care.